The New York Times has been forced to apologise for misreporting on the Skripal poisoning in the UK back in March last year. It wrote that the CIA director, Gina Haspel, showed President Trump images of dead ducks and ill children, allegedly from the scene of the attack. And though British authorities quickly confirmed the photos were not related to the incident, the New York Times took 2 months to issue a correction. Here's Caleb Morpin.
You remember when the New York Times dropped a bombshell about how Gina Haspel, the CIA director, had convinced Donald Trump to send Russian diplomats packing in response to the Skripal poisoning by showing him photographs of dead ducks and sick children? Except those reports turned out to be fake news. The author has apologized.
I regret the error and offer my apology. I strive to get information right the first time. That is what subscribers pay for. But when I get something wrong, I fix it.
So this is how they fixed it.
An earlier version of this article incorrectly described the photos that Gina Haspel showed to President Trump during a discussion about responding to the nerve agent attack in Britain on a former Russian intelligence officer. Ms. Haspel displayed pictures illustrating the consequences of nerve agent attacks, not images specific to the chemical attack in Britain.
Let's break this down a little bit more. So Gina Haspel, the CIA director, shows Donald Trump images of the impact of nerve agents. Here is what the original article said.
Ms. Haspel showed pictures the British government had supplied her of young children hospitalized after being sickened by the Novichok nerve agent that poisoned the Skripals. She then showed a photograph of ducks that British officials said were inadvertently killed by the sloppy work of the Russian operatives.
So Donald Trump sees these images of sick kids and dead ducks, and he is furious with Russia. Now, back then, that made sense. After all, UK media was reporting that 3 children had gone to the hospital after receiving bread from the Skripals and feeding it to ducks. However, this story fell apart the next day. The children were fine. They were not affected in any way, and furthermore, no ducks were harmed either.
There were no other casualties other than those previously stated. No wildlife were impacted by the incident, and no children were exposed to or became ill as a result of either incident.
So what exactly did the CIA director show to Trump? She showed Donald Trump images of horror that had nothing to do with the incident at hand. But here's another question. Why did it take so long to correct?
This correction was delayed because of the time needed for research.
The correction wasn't published for 2 entire months afterwards. The initial article cited people briefed on the conversation, whereas the new correction cited a person familiar with the intelligence. Time well spent. Caleb Morpin, RT, New York.
Well, here's how the Russian embassy in Washington responded to the New York Times correction. It criticised the length of time it took for the mistake to be addressed and called for an end to disinformation while urging for normal relations between Russia and the United States to be restored.